The two sons of Virelon had long since vanished behind the ash-clouded sky, and still, Scylla knelt at the edge of the crater, her silver robes torn and crusted with soot. The wind howled through the broken metal ribs of what once was the Temple of Re, carrying the distant groan of collapsing structures and the moans of the dying. Her home, her entire civilization, reduced to cinders. She had nothing. No soldiers left. No council. No command. And worst of all, no one left to hate. The war between the Alari and the humans had ended 2 days ago with the humans' unexpected victory. It was supposed to be a short campaign, a swift conquest by the proud and ancient Alari, who had ruled 3-star systems before humanity had even reached their moon. But pride had been their downfall. Humanity had outnumbered, outlasted, and outmaneuvered them. Now, the Alari were either dead or in chains. Scylla had once commanded the 7th Fleet, legendary for their precision bombing of the Earth colony on Juno Prime. Now, she wore no insignia. Only ash and silence. She heard the hum of a skimmer before she saw it. A low-altitude craft streaking across the horizon, its engine whispering like a ghost. She stepped out from the crater's edge and raised her hands. It landed 50 meters away. The side hatch hissed open. Out stepped a human. Tall. Tired. Wrapped in a dark coat, his skin scorched from the sun. A rifle slung over his shoulder, but it wasn't pointed at her. He approached slowly, watching her the way you'd watch a starving animal deciding whether to bite or beg. "I'm unarmed," Scylla said in fluent English. He didn't answer. "I know who you are," she continued. "Your commander Darius Vale. They said you took the surrender at Virelon's core. You led the relief convoys." "And you're General Scylla Kale of the Alari 7th Fleet," Darius replied. "Also known as the Hammer of Re. How poetic to find you in the ruins of your own temple." "I didn't come here for poetry." "Then why?" She lowered her hands. "To ask for asylum." That made him laugh, a short, bitter sound that echoed among the wreckage. "You burned our cities. You dropped nerve gas on New Kyoto. You poisoned our oceans on Ganymede. And now you want a favor." "No," she said softly. "I want a second chance. Not forgiveness. Just life." Darius looked at her for a long time, the wind tugging at his coat. "Why should I believe anything you say?" "Because I have nothing left to lose," she said. "I had a daughter once. She died in the first counterstrike. I didn't even know until yesterday. You killed everything I fought for, and now I see it was all a lie." He squinted at her, eyes narrowing. "You're good at speeches," he said. "But I don't trust speeches anymore." "I don't trust people anymore," she replied. "But I still want to live." He looked past her, at the twisted remains of the temple. "Come with me," he said at last. "But if you try anything, I won't hesitate." "I understand." The skimmer's cabin smelled of oil and ozone. Scylla sat in silence as Darius piloted them across the ruined plains. Fires still dotted the landscape, some Alari, some human. It didn't matter anymore. Only the dead cared for flags. "Where are we going?" she asked. "There's a refugee center near the equator," he replied. "We're rebuilding it into a neutral zone. Technically, you're still an enemy combatant. But I can say you surrendered peacefully." "Will they believe you?" "They won't like it," he said, "but they trust me. I've saved enough of their children." She turned to the window. "You were different. Even during the war." "Different how?" "You didn't celebrate the killing. You took no pleasure in it. That's why they call you the Ghost Commander." He didn't answer. At the refugee center, everything was concrete, wire, and cold order. Human soldiers eyed her with suspicion as Darius escorted her through the gates. He spoke quietly to a female officer, then handed over his rifle. She watched it all unfold like a dream. She was given a grey uniform, a bunk, a number. It wasn't home, but it wasn't death. That night, she sat outside the barracks, watching the stars blink through the murky atmosphere. Darius found her there. "You settle in?" he asked. "I've slept in worse." He sat beside her, pulling a ration bar from his coat and handing it over. She broke it in half and offered him a piece. "I don't eat a Larry food," he said. "You do now." He took it reluctantly. They chewed in silence for a while. "I don't expect anyone to trust me," she said. "But I want to help rebuild what we destroyed, even if it's just hauling rubble." He studied her. "You're serious?" "Yes. There's a convoy going out tomorrow to the southern ruins. Human and a Larry working together. I'll put your name on the list." The days turned into weeks. Scylla worked in the rubble. She dug trenches, planted crops, hauled bricks. She took orders from human engineers and slept beside a Larry who once would have died rather than share air with Earthborns. And Darius kept coming back. Sometimes to inspect. Sometimes just to talk. She learned that he'd lost his brother in the first orbital strike. That he'd volunteered not out of patriotism but guilt. That he still woke up screaming sometimes, even now. So did she. One night, when a tremor rocked the camp and the air raid siren screamed by mistake, Scylla found herself in the arms of Darius, huddled beneath a collapsed wall. Neither said a word. Neither let go for a long time. Then came the tribunal. Scylla was called to testify about war crimes, hers and others. She stood in front of a UN delegation, hands bound, face bare, voice steady. She confessed everything. Gave names, locations, orders. Told them exactly how many had died on her watch. "Do you feel remorse?" asked the Earth ambassador. "I feel nothing," she replied. "But I want to." They debated for hours behind closed doors. Then they released her. The tribunal chair simply said, "Your honesty may not bring back the dead, but it might help prevent the next war." When she stepped outside, Darius was waiting. "You did it," he said. "No," she said. "I just stopped running." A year passed. The air was cleaner. The crops had taken root. The southern ruins had been cleared and turned into a joint research outpost. Alari engineers worked side by side with human scientists. One morning, a child ran past her in the fields, half Alari, half human. Laughing. Scylla stood there, stunned. Darius stepped up beside her. "Her name's Ray," he said. "Her mother's Alari. Father's a pilot. They met during the cleanup mission last year." Scylla swallowed hard. "Is that allowed now?" "Not officially. But no one's stopping them anymore." She turned to him. "What about us?" she asked. He looked into her eyes for a long moment. "I used to see you as the enemy," he said. "Then I saw you as a survivor. Now, I see you as someone who might help build what comes next." She smiled, faint but real. "I'd like that. A second sunrise." He offered her his hand. And this time, she took it.